we go again.
It's Kennedy, my brother from another mother.
It's good, bro.
What it do, man?
Nothing much. A week has passed.
The week is past, huh?
Mm, mm, mm.
Hey, man. We could get into some of these right away, but I did have a question for you.
What's up?
I saw that that the Kings
Mm-hmm.
were ready to start including De'Aaron Fox in trade conversations, though, bruh.
Okay.
You know how crazy that sounds to me, though, bro. Let's get the news and talk about it, bro.
It doesn't matter what your name
The
is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast
If you
of all time.
smell what the rock. It doesn't matter what your name
The
is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time.
Hey, listen, if you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe to the Slash Brothers YouTube and Facebook pages. We are live on both platforms at the same time. You click on the notification, you click on the bell, you get the heads up whenever your boys and Miss doing their thing. It's Kennedy. You
Yeah.
know why? You know why that makes me so mad,
What's
right? To hear. So one of the things that would frustrate the heck out of me as a fan of basketball and as a fan of a team, this is the reason why in a lot of parts though, bro, that it's for years have been hard for me to get behind a team outside of Oklahoma, right? Um, the reason why is because it never fails that a team typically at some point will trade your favorite player, right? And a lot of times, right, they'll ask, sometimes the team will, the player will ask to be traded. They'll initiate that, right? I think that with OKC, the only time that I remember us actually just trading a player is James Harden, a great player where it's like, hey, this is what we got to offer you. Nah, you ain't trying to take that. All right, we got to go ahead and get you on out of here. And it was a mutually beneficial trade, I think, anyway. James Harden turned into the James Harden that we know, and that's it. But I think that what always frustrates me the most, though, man, right, is something like this where the Kings with De'Aaron Fox, where here it is, just a year or two ago, they were fighting and battling with Golden State, looking like they were right there on the cusp of essentially possibly being one of those next tier playoff teams, right? And a lot of that is with De'Aaron Fox being the catalyst behind it. And so here it is. I thought the whole time De'Aaron Fox had just made the All Star game. You got Sabonis out there, and it was always that duo. Now you got Murray who comes and knock down the three. They got Malik Monk also coming off the bench and everything like that. They have a great team. And I get that, at some point you have to continue to progress and see what you can do to make your team better. But I think that what's crazy to me is that when you then go and trade your best player and then you start surrendering it for draft picks to say, all right, well, we could possibly get a first round draft pick or we can get all these other ancillary players and everything like that. It's one of those things where as much as I try to go against the idea of being so about the players, right? I can totally see why the players then would be like, no, I'm all for self, even if that means me looking selfish, because in the end, here it is, you've been in a place your whole lifetime, and then they trade you. And I don't even know what they're going to get in return for De'Aaron Fox that would put them over the It would be different, right? If you were like DeMar DeRozan and you got traded from
Yeah.
Toronto where you've been the whole year, and then boom, they pick up Kawhi Leonard and they win a championship. That rarely happens. But I was so like, this is why the Kings have been in such mediocrity for so many years, though, bro, because it never fails. Like I'm talking about from the time they trade or let go Chris Webber, they had that they let go Jason Williams. They've let go all of these players, and I understand the concept of letting players go ahead of when you think they're gonna fall off, right? But at the same time, like this is one of those things. I'm like, you're gonna let go your best player and you're one of your best options to get you further along, and for what?
Well, let me ask you this: do you think that Cleveland was wrong for getting rid of Colin Sexton?
Ooh. So yes and no. And I'm gonna tell you why I say yes and no. The no, I'm gonna go with the no first. The no is that they basically got they had three guys that played the same position, and that was before Donovan Mitchell got there, right? So they had Colin Sexton, and Colin. I was a big fan of Colin Sexton. Colin Sexton still am, right? But he is very much Darius Garland, and if you think that Darius Garland is a better version of that kind of game, then to me, I get it. You go ahead and you let him go. I think that what makes it a little bit more of like, well, I'm like, dang, was it messed up? It's because I think that he had just came off of injury and they let him go after that. Though he's 100% now, so that's what I mean. And they got this other cat, Isaac, like Zakario, Iscario, something like that. They all play very much same, and it's their fault. They drafted the same guy basically three times, though, man. So
Yeah, but you bring DeMar DeRozan, and if you think it's better to have the ball in his hands and they can get some more pieces because they're not going anywhere right now. They shoot. They just let go of Mike Brown. And Mike
right,
Bibby's got them playing good right now. But at the same time, if it's like, look, if we can get some more pieces because everybody's trying to match Oklahoma City's bench, right?
right. But here's my thing about it, though, right? I guess what I'm wondering is this: who exactly are you going to get right? To bolster your bench to match Oklahoma this season or even next season. Because this is my thing. I thought that you brought in DeMar Rosen. He's been in the league like 13 years. So I thought that it's a win now kind of team. And that's my point. You're wasting a season with DeMar DeRozan if you don't get another player who you think is the equivalent to me of De'Aaron Fox.
But maybe that's the thing, though. Maybe they are at a point where it's like we aren't as good as we thought we were because Mike Brown was like in the talks for coach of the year, right? And now
Last year.
yeah, so now he's gone. So you at the same time you looking at your record and you looking at the rest of the landscape in the West, you have to do something. What if they're making a play for Jimmy Butler? I'm just saying.
Okay,
I don't.
that's fine. I get that. I get that.
Because
I guess
all I'm
that would
saying
be an equivalent.
yeah, because what I'm saying is Jimmy Butler right now, his asking price is lower now because now they just want to
Hmm.
get rid of him. So, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that they are going after him, but I'm just saying maybe they're just wanting to listen to offers to see what's available to know what is his trade value. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's looking for that PG trade of getting a Shea Gilgis Alexander in return.
Hey, listen. So here's the thing. Let's talk about Jimmy. Before we talk about Jimmy, though, this is the problem that I have. It's because once your name gets brought up in trade, so this is what makes De'Aaron Fox look bad and make the Kings look stupid at the same time, right? It's because Mike Brown, for all intents and purposes, was fired because of De'Aaron Fox. And I can just look at De'Aaron Fox's comments afterwards, like, hey, that's right, he's still getting paid, so it's straight. That told me that when they said they was going to fire Mike Brown, that they ran it by De'Aaron Fox. He was like, cool by me, right? That's me. Again, I'm reading between the lines. He didn't have to say it, but I'm reading between the lines. But then the flip side of that is Jimmy Butler, right? Because now Jimmy Butler apparently is suspended again. And here it is. His initial thing is at the beginning of the season. It's like, hey, if you're not going to extend me, then feel free to go ahead and trade me ahead of the season, though, bro. And now things are getting out of hand. I want to know your perspective on this, bro.
I think two things can be true. I hear a lot of people saying that the way Jimmy is handling this is, they don't like the way he's handling it. But why? He's forcing his way out. Again, you just said at the start of the broadcast that you were now in favor of the players, right? So hold on, I got to go back to another point that you made earlier because you talked about people's name once they're brought up in trades. It's kind of like you already are
And
starting.
go back.
Okay, okay. Tyler Hero, he out here balling out of control. His name been in trades for 3 years.
You know, okay, so this is the thing. I agree with you. I agree with you. But here's what I firmly still believe. I have an argument. Shout out to my dude Rashad, because he is like Mr. Miami Heat. And I have these arguments with him all the time about that. I think the reason why Tyler Hero comes up all the time is because he, to me, is like one of the most tradable people. But it's like, I honestly believe, though, bro, that he hasn't been traded, not necessarily because Miami wants to keep him. I think that he hasn't been traded because they haven't been able to get enough or somebody who would want him enough like that to where they would give up a first round draft pick. And Miami is in this Atlanta state, Atlanta Hawks state of the team where they're always not trash enough to get a number one pick, but barely good enough to get into the playoffs or just into the playoffs. And so they're stuck in this limbo, this purgatory. That's their problem.
Is it even a hot destination anymore for people to want to go to it?
Listen, that's a great question, bro. And it makes me so mad when I hear people talk about heat culture. Like, no, heat culture is only as good as your best players buy in. And if you're telling me that, yeah, that worked because Dwayne Wade bought into it, I guess that's why LeBron James left because he didn't necessarily buy into it. But my thing is this: of all of these times where players. We've heard rumors of KD going there during his free agency. He didn't go there. Brad Beal, they had it. He didn't go there. Maybe he'll go there now, but he ain't going there
Dame,
yet.
Dame was
He
supposed to go.
hasn't wait. Listen, he hasn't waived his no trade calls to say, yeah, send me out there, right? But then even outside that, you said Dame was supposed to go there. It's like heat culture is only as good as your best players buy in to Pat Riley's way. Here's one of the things I think that's crazy to me, though, bro. They told Jimmy that on this last suspension, right? They told Jimmy Butler in the huddle that he isn't going to start, right? They didn't wait to tell him beforehand. They told him amongst all the players, in front of all the players, that you ain't starting. And listen, I'm a firm believer, bro. I'm a very firm believer in that nothing happens on accident with Miami. I think that everything comes from up top. And I honestly feel like, bro, that Pat Riley, if that was the case, like he told them that to purposely like embarrass Jimmy Butler. So when Jimmy Butler left the practice then, it was like, oh yeah, I can understand why he gonna go. Why he said, you know what? If we gonna act a fool, I'm gonna go ahead and show my whole ass then,
Yeah,
bro.
but here's the thing though. Do because okay, I'm gonna get back to answering your question about what do I think about it. But do you think it he should have handled it differently?
I think that he could have. Yes,
No,
I
no, no. Do
think
you
that
think
this
he
is my
should
thing.
have? Not
I think he should have. I think he should have because here's the thing about it. The reason why I think he should have is because Jimmy Butler already has this reputation of going sour with other teams, right? I think that he's never had a peaceful way out of Chicago, Minnesota, Philly, now them. So he is the common denominator. He showed his tail on his way out every time. And my thing is that just to protect your reputation, yes, you should have. But I think that the other part about it too is that I think that they would have been more willing to work with you to say, hey, we gonna try to get you traded, but one, we want to make sure that it's beneficial to us, and we still want to at least respect the fact that you've contributed to us. That we want to try to get you to a contending team as well. We don't want to send you out to Orlando, or we don't want to send you to Charlotte just because they got the most assets. So I think that he should have handled it differently, just because I think he would have been able to get more out of it in the long run.
and here's why I disagree with you. Because him doing what he's doing is placing him right where he wants to be. Because the problem is the asking price was too high for teams to even do it. And plus, they know that Jimmy Butler, you know, whatever, like I guess he's gonna be a free agent afterwards.
He's gonna be a free agent. So why trade everything for him?
Right.
That's what you're saying.
So ultimately, first of all these teams that you mentioned, and there's still teams that want him. And then They're seeing what's playing out right now in front of them with Miami, and teams still want him. So at the end of the day, if you wanted out and they weren't trying to get you out, they were trying to prolong it, prolong it, prolong it. And now you're in a position to make things happen because what's my boy's name? The head office dude. I can't think of slick hair. Pat Riley. He,
Around.
he's the one that don't budge. Jimmy Butler don't budge. You already said it. So his reputation, everybody knows that's Jimmy Butler. So it's not, it's almost like Draymond Green, right? You know what you're gonna get with Draymond. So it's like you know what you're gonna get with Jimmy. So and teams still want him. So if that's the case, now he's forcing his way out and he's gonna get to go where he wants to go, then it's all fair when it comes to you saying you riding with the players. The only bad part is all the money he's out on. But he's probably like, in the long run, if I get that extension, that's the money.
He's made 200 million plus. So I don't think that any NBA player, and he's been in Florida for 6 years getting it. So I don't think that NBA players are as pressed about the money missing. Although I've never been in a position to be out of $10 million ever in my life,
Yeah,
right? But I think that
500,000
that would
in any of that.
or 500,000 a game or whatever. But here's my thing about it, though, man. This is the question that I have for you,
Okay.
right? I know you don't want to see Jimmy Butler on OKC Thunder.
No,
No, please.
absolutely not.
Okay. Okay. So then here's my question. After all of this, is Jimmy Butler worth the headache?
If you're a team that's in the middle of the road, then probably, because it's the thing like this, right? Now that the asking prices come down, then yeah, I'm gonna throw my ring in the hat. If I'm Golden State, I want to see what we can talk about, right? If I'm the Suns and this is something you've been trying to do, it's been open that you wanted him, I'd see what's up. I'm trying to think of somebody else that I think, and then after that, not the Houston Rockets, maybe, you know,
See, I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that I think that the Warriors. I think that the Warriors, to me, make sense only from the standpoint of he's basically asking for what you are paying Wiggins, and that you're not going to extend Wiggins, right? It just doesn't make sense that you're going to extend Wiggins. And if you're still in win now mode, I think that you can get rid of Wiggins. I think, unfortunately, they might get rid of Looney and then bring him back because I don't think they're going to keep him. I think that there's a couple people that you can trade, and I just don't know that if Miami want those or if Miami's in a position to even be stingy, like to be like, who are you to turn down when he's not even playing for you right now? I just don't know where Jimmy Butler is a good fit on a contending team.
okay. What do you think about this trade? And I don't know the numbers and the money and all that. I don't care about that. I'm just talking about just this. If you Golden State, would you trade Kaminga, uh uh Gary Payton Jr.
Wiggins.
and
Mm,
Wiggins for Jimmy Butler?
okay. In that scenario, yes, I would. And here's the reason why. The reason why I would is because I think that Miami, and remember this, I think that the Warriors have shown some reluctance to pay Kaminga like he's that. And I'm not gonna lie, he's averaging a career high. But listen though, bro, if I'm honest, I think that there are five guys not named Shea on Oklahoma that I think is better than Kaminga, bro. Like, if you just listen, because you think about all of them boys that is on the bench, right? They come off the bench willingly. If they played the number of minutes that Kaminga did for Oklahoma, for Oklahoma, I think that they would put up similar numbers to Kaminga. So, I mean, I get that the Warriors their offense is so Steph centric. But even when he's not in, though, bro, like I've seen him dunk on some people, but I still don't look at Kaminga and just think outside of his potential, like when is he going to start to actualize the potential? Like when is he going to actually do it? And so for that, like I don't know that I would. I mean, like this, would you trade Kaminga for J Dub? Would you trade him for J Will? Would you trade him for hell, at this point, if you got minutes for Poku, you can bring Poku back. I just don't think that like I think Kaminga is good, but I think that for the number of minutes that he plays, I'm not saying, and I think maybe that's why the Warriors have been reluctant to give him the long-term contract, though, bro.
If you the Suns and you can't get Jimmy Butler, are you going after Zach LaVine?
Ooh, I don't know, bro. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you, man. I think Zach LaVine and Brad Beal are the same dudes, man. I think that they just light skin. He's just light skin version of him. And don't get me wrong. The reason why I say this, I think that Zach LaVine will put up the same numbers that he's putting up right now with the Bulls if you're giving him enough shot attempts. Like, what are you coming in to ask him to do? Right? Because I think that with enough shots, Brad Beal can be Brad Beal on the Suns, but it's just like, what do you really need? So if I'm the Suns, I tested it out, I saw it didn't work, and I don't see it working in the future. So I'm trying to get from under Brad Beal and his contract by all means, just on the strength of it being like a lease. So I would trade for Zach LaVine just to have a lesser contract, and then you would have some flexibility to say, if I don't want Zach LaVine beyond a year, I'm cool. But you've gotten from beneath the Brad Beal contract, though, bro.
Okay. Last scenario, and then we can move on. If you the Suns, would you trade Nurkic and Beal for Zion?
Yes, yes. And here's the reason why. Because for starters, there's already a known rift between Nurkic and the head coach, so you got to get Nurkic on out of there. And at the same time, you also know that you got to go ahead and get rid of Brad Beal, and at least Zion is on the Zion is younger, injury prone, but I think that Zion would add a dynamic that they don't currently have. Now, the big thing is that, well, what are you gonna do then? Unless they already got the young boy that they brought in from Charlotte. So yeah, you can get rid of Nurkic. I think that whatever they're trying to do, they gonna package Beal and Nurkic in whatever deal they go to, bro. They both gotta go.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. I just don't know that New Orleans. Listen, Brad Bill in New Orleans, he got to be. New Orleans is so bad, bro. I think that so many people from New Orleans are injured, though, bro, that they look so bad. But I mean, you talk about you put, if ideally if you had New Orleans at full staff, right? C.J. McCollum, Dejounte Murray, and then Zion all out there. And then you got Herb Williams out there.
Yeah.
In theory, it looks like it would work. B.I. is still there. So in theory, they have a lot of good guys that have just don't ever play with each other, though, bro. So uh yeah, think about it. I feel terrible for them, bro. They probably have the most all-stars not playing than anybody else, though, bro.
Yeah, yeah. They pretty injury prone. Dallas was hurt for a minute. Uh
Yes.
yeah, yeah. I think the conversations, because at one point the Thunder were actually considering getting Cam Johnson. I think that those conversations have toned down, but I know Brooklyn is definitely got him dangling out there for trade bait. So yeah,
I don't think that Brooklyn ever seriously was looking to keep Cam. I mean, like when they traded Bridges, I thought that all right, they're in transition. So they got Cam Johnson as a bargaining piece to help them get more draft picks. They'll get it. I just don't I think but just like I said though, man, Cam Thomas, he's good. I just think that everybody should be 18 points in the game, 18 points a game in the league if you're giving up enough shots. Listen, I've seen some guys at LA Fitness who can drop 18 if you're giving them enough shots, though, bro. So I don't know, man. I don't want to see Cam Thomas on. I don't think it does anything at all
Cam Johnson.
for Thunder.
Cam Johnson.
Cam Johnson. I mean, they got another Cam Thompson, I think, on there too, though.
Yeah.
Anywho, though.
What's next, bro?
Hey, so listen, Super Bowl is all lined up, right? And we were
Yep.
giving our picks. I don't remember what our original thoughts were
Mine was
if
the
we look
Commanders and the
back.
Chiefs. And you said you wanted the Bills to win because in your lifetime you wanted to see them win one.
I would want to see them win, or I don't mind seeing in my lifetime a 3-peat.
Yeah.
If I had to go back and we went back and looked at this at the beginning of the football season, I think I would have said I wanted Baltimore to get one just because I'm a big Lamar guy. But listen, here's the thing I think that's crazy. I want to bring this on up. Aside from the actual Super Bowl itself, I think that this particular NFL season has been a career defining season for a few players, though, bro. And here's what I mean by that, right? I think that this season, right, is the start of a Saquon Barkley Hall of Fame career kind of season, right? So he had the injury and that had him out, right? And then he was, even though he bounced back, he got the yardage wise, though, right? But I think that this particular season was one of those seasons where when you say here are Hall of Fame credentials, what is that one season that they did? I think that this is one of them ones, though, man, that I think that did it, though, bro.
Well, I mean the Eagles in general, bro. Because I mean, the beginning of the season, there was all these reports coming out with tension between the head coach and Hurts. So the fact that they were able to get to the Super Bowl with the way that their season started, I think is a big testament to how much work they put in, and I think it's admirable that they made it.
Here's what I think is crazy, though, bro. I honestly believe, right, that AJ Brown. I think that he's the one that I don't think is going to be with them past next season. So he might be there next season, and I think that that'll be it because this is my thing. I think that what's crazy to me is that you always talk about like diva wide receivers, right? And it's one thing that you want the ball, you want the ball, you want the ball. I get that completely. But when I talk about career defining seasons, dog, I honestly believe though, man, right, that AJ Brown, previously he had all of these yards and all these catches, right? And now he doesn't because Saquon. They run the ball more than any other team, and it's been working. And I honestly feel like that he would rather sacrifice winning to get individual stats. Like that's what that looks like to me. And so because of that, the same way how when teams go to the Super Bowl and they start to lose a bunch of staff, I think that especially if the Eagles win a Super Bowl, I can see him kind of feeling like, all right, I got my ring now. I can just go ahead and go and give me some stats though, bro. So I don't know, man. He gave me those kind of vibes, Joe. But again, career defining. See, I think this one is it. I think that the other one to me, though, bro, that's a career defining. And let's talk about Jalen Hurts, right? Because Jalen Hurts, this is one of those career defining when you could say, I'm in the company. You can either be the start because you got plenty of time, but you got those one championship quarterbacks, Drew Breeses, the Russell Wilsons, all these guys that just got the singles, all right? And so this could really be the start of him collecting rings. Now, the tricky part is Pat Mahomes ain't going nowhere, right? And as far as for the foreseeable future, all of your rings are going to have to go through him. So it's like if you're the guy that ends up beating him, he could be the modern Eli Manning, the Tom Brady beater, right? But career Hall of Fame worthiness defining career this season to me is it though.
Yeah, it's been some great individual play this year by certain
Now,
people.
now here's the other one that I think that's interesting though, bro. Because then what I wonder is this: like, what if all the accolades, right, that Josh Allen gets, like, if what if Josh Allen ends up being the other great quarterback to never win the Super Bowl? He becomes the Dan Marino, right? The Jim Kelly, right? The guys who are Hall of Fame. And for that matter, as much as I love Lamar's almost got me thinking, like, bro, what is what? Not to say that they're all their fault, but if in the end you got to go through Pat Mahomes, it looks like he's going to be your Michael Jordan for when Jordan had all them guys, them Hall of Fame players from the '90s who don't got championship rings solely because they had to go through him. I think that it looks like Lamar could be one of them guys too, though, man.
Do you think that either one of them needs to do what Stafford did and go to a different team to try to win one?
No, no. See, the difference, right, is that I think that these teams are built around them, right? I think that in the end, Matt Stafford was in the NFC and then went to the NFC. He didn't go to the AFC because if he would have went to the AFC, he would have had to fight through Pat Mahomes and all the gauntlet to get there. I think the safest route is Jalen Hurts, right? He doesn't have to see them dudes, right? Until he actually gets there. So I don't think that they have to, but I do think, bro, that they're every year, right? Those three guys who are the top, who everybody considers the top tier, are going to cross each other. Somebody's going to knock each other out, though, right? And then that's considering that if Trevor Lawrence is ever what people say he's going to be, if Herbert is ever what they say, and you got other guys that are coming though, bro. So you just got to do it. You got the stars all got to line up for you to beat Pat Mahomes, or a scenario happens where they don't have one of them don't have to play Mahomes. So like Josh Allen finally beats Pat Mahomes, and then Lamar beats Josh Allen, or Lamar beats Pat Mahomes, and then Josh Allen beats Lamar, something like that though. But I think as long as they have to go through, as long as one of them have to go through Pat Mahomes, though, bro, it's a wrap though, bro. I just don't. I'm not gonna bet against him if he gets there.
So you basically got the Chiefs in the Super Bowl?
I got the Chiefs winning, and I listen. I don't care if they win or lose. I'm just saying if I was betting, which I'm not, I would put my money on the Chiefs. Now, with that being said, I think that the Eagles are better built more than any other team to beat them, right? But I just honestly believe, though, man, that like I said, it's something about when Pat Mahomes get there. I don't think that it's just a moment's not too big. Just set aside all of that, though, bro. I just think that when Pat Mahomes is there, everything they find a way to get it done, though, bro. And that's nothing you can't tangibly put a stat on or how to. It just works, and for that, I can't. I wouldn't bet against that, bro. I just wouldn't.
How come nobody ever takes the Chiefs coordinators? I mean, like the defensive coordinator or whatever his name is.
Well, Spagnuolo was the coach. He was the head coach for the Giants for a couple of years, and he's had his attempts. I think that even the Chiefs, the other coordinators, offensive coordinators outside of Eric B, had gotten opportunity. Joe Nagy, if I'm not mistaken, was one of his coordinators who didn't. He was just like a passing game coordinator or whatever. He never even actually was a coordinator. He was like a quarterback coach or something like that, though, man. And he got his look. So they get poached, though, man. But I think a lot of it is just that Andy Reid is the one that's calling the plays, though, man. So offensively, as long as he's intact, he's good. And as creative as he is, as long as he got Pat Mahomes who can execute the things that he got in his mind, they always gonna be there. I got a question for you, though.
Oh, you just so messed up my segue, but go ahead.
Go ahead.
Speaking of coordinators, what's going on with them Cowboys?
Well, let me tell you an even better segue. Because Marty Schottenheimer used to be the coach for the Kansas City Chiefs, too, bro. That is a hey, listen, man.
What's up?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. You know what that tells me, bro? That tells me two things, right? That tells me that Jerry Jones knows more than what y'all think. When I say y'all, I mean the Cowboy fans that are mad, right? Here's what I mean by that, bro. That tells me that Jerry Jones knows that his team is trash, bro. That he knows that with their roster as currently constructed, right? Because you already paid CD, now you're going to have to pay Micah in a little bit. You already paid all these people. You've been kicking the can, like they say, down the road, and that time is coming. That time is coming when you got to pay the piper, right? And I think that what Jerry Jones knows more than what people think, because he's picking the players. I think that Jerry Jones is looking at this roster and thinking, that's it. We ain't got it. We ain't got it. And so there's no reason for me to go out and overpay for a head coach with this particular roster because he picked them. He got to know with this combination of guys that it ain't working. And I think that's part of the reason why I think he let go of Mike McCarthy, because I think that Mike McCarthy probably was like, listen, he has more control of the players. And I think that Jerry Jones was like, listen here, homeboy, I'm picking them. And if you got a problem with that, you can skate. But I think that a lot of it still is he knows his team is not good, bro. He knows that. And so when he was saying, oh, yeah, we're going to go all in this particular season, I think that Jerry still is looking at all the guys that he's paid that just ain't getting it done as currently constructed. And I'm looking at that, and he's looking around at all these guys that are gaining on them, gaining on. And I think he's looking at it and he's thinking, there's not a quarterback, there's not a coach out there right now that I can hire that's going to make my team better than the Philadelphia Eagles in the next 4 years, right? There's not a quarterback, there's not a coach out there that's going to make my team better than Kansas City in the next 4 years. But here's what I do think that he's doing, though, right? For one, I think that he went ahead and he interviewed Dion just to satisfy the Rooney Rule, right? But I think that he looked at Dion and they got a wink deal on the side. That he said, Dion, listen, I think we're gonna be trash. I'm gonna keep it a stack with you. And if you come there, I don't think that we're gonna turn things around right away, as much as I would love to have it. So I'm gonna get this dude out here for the time being, right? You go ahead and see what Colorado looks like. And in maybe 2 years after he's trash, I'm gonna fire this coach in 2 years, right? Because then we can get our books straightened out and we can get our players balanced on out, and then I'm gonna come back to you though, Prime. I don't think that I listen, there's no he old, bro, but he know his roster, man.
I don't know. I just think he's old and I just don't think he got it anymore, bro. Like, this is an interesting stat. Matter of fact, it's not even a stat. It's something you sent me, right? Where they talked about uh Jalen Hurts and Jaden was it McDaniels?
Jaden Daniels.
McDaniels. Both they were born, went to school, graduated high school, went to college, got drafted, and have been to the AFC or NFC championship before the Cowboys has that's ridiculous.
Hey, I it made me happy when I saw them. Like, as somebody who actively roots against the Cowboys, it just told me that I at least got 2 more years, possibly. He signed a 4-year contract. So at least 4 more years where I can just laugh at their anguish. So for the next 4 years, because I just don't think that and this is the thing about it. I think that Jerry just figures that, hey, you know what, for the next 4 years, I'm just gonna keep working on boosting the value of my company, my team, and everything, because it ain't gonna be through a championship. So and nobody who I know that's a Cowboy fan said that's it. I'm no longer a Cowboy, except for what's his Bubba Dub. He's the only one who I know that quit being a fan though. So I don't know, bro.
Yeah. So the title of this episode is First Week. 45, 47 has been in office for a whole week, and there has been a lot of talk about the things that he's done, all of the executive orders that he signed. There's a lot of stuff going on. Even the latest thing right now is there is a freeze on federal grants and loans or whatever the case may be. So there's a lot going on. And I know one of the things that people were kind of excited about for something positive that he did was that he had agreed to terms with Colombia on sending some illegals back through Colombia, and their head dude was like, he said yes at first, but then when the flight was about to happen, and he was like, nah. So then 45, 47 was like, look, if we don't get the deal done, then I'm gonna put tariffs on y'all, and we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then they folded. Uh, so of course that was a big win, especially for people who think border control was one of the things that they were rooting for him for. Um, Obviously, I can't really give my 2 cents on a lot of things because of some things. So I will just say that I disagree with a lot of the executive orders that were signed, and that's all I'm gonna really say.
Let me tell you something I think. I can say though, I'm not bound by those kind of contractual obligations here. So I'm gonna say this. This might surprise you. I'm not against all of them though, bro. I'm not against a lot of these executive orders. Here's the thing about it. It's some of them. This is gonna sound crazy, but I think that it's because I just don't care about a lot of stuff, right? And so because I don't care about a lot of things, some of these things I don't care. So one of the things that I think that he did, he signed an executive order that basically would basically prevent people from having gender transitions or gender reassignments to people who are not under 19, right? So he's saying you can't be out here transitioning kids, basically, because they're children, right? So I'm not either for or against. I'm not that mad at that one though. Oddly enough, I'm not right. I'm not mad at the we having two genders. Either you're male or you're female. Not that mad at it, right? I didn't really care one way or the other, right? So I'm not mad at that either. Um, what else he signed? What else he has signed? Let's see
The
here. He has signed
DEIA.
the DEI. So this is a conversation that I've been having before, right? The problem that I have with DEI, right, is that the idea behind DEI was put in place on the tail by companies on the tail end of his administration, right, under his years, right? Because DEI was an idea that amongst black folks anyway, it was like one of those things that we just have to deal with. And in theory, right, you would like to think, well, in theory, you're going to hire the best person for a job. You should be discriminated against because of who you are, what you look like, right? So in theory, there's no need in a perfect world. There's no need for DEI because you're just getting the best candidate. I think that the problem is that what I think is people we've never been working under a perfect scenario under those conditions. But I think that the part that's interesting to me about that is that um, where I think that DEI is helpful is that it makes people more aware of those things, right? And I feel like, as sadly as it is that the American way is that you don't have to worry about that. Like for years, nobody ever cared. We kind of accepted it, right? But the DEI, being DEI conscious, just basically say you're aware. Well, that's to me, like some people, buzzword here, right? Some people hate the word moist, right? Some people just hate the absolute word moist, right? To a lot of Republicans, white Republicans in particular, their word for their moist is woke, right? They associate DEI with woke. And I think that that's the reason why. It's like DEI has this bad connotation behind it being tied to woke. So, I mean, in a perfect world, if we were in Star Wars, right? And this is the galactic universe, this is the Republic, where there's no biggie on race. There's different species all living. It's like you the best person for the job. That's it, though, man. I just think that a lot of times, though, man, when people say we're going to move on, I'm not mad that the president pulled down the things that kind of pushed it. If anything, I'm mad at the brands that just immediately pulled their stuff down.
Right, but here's the thing. We're not in Star Wars. And unfortunately,
Yes.
we have to do something to level the playing field. So it's almost like when you see those little bitty tiny packages and stuff that says do not eat these, that's because somebody at a time ate it, right?
Yes.
So you would think that, well, it's other things in here that's edible. Why would I eat this little package? But somebody did. So the thing is that we're in a space to where that should be a normal thing that you think of as I'm going to hire the best person. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So, because that's not the case, we have to have certain things in place to try to level the playing field. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, and one of the examples I asked him, I said, think of all of the national sports in the world, as far as like baseball, football, basketball. I said, how many black majority owners do we have? None.
None in football, especially.
None in basketball.
I don't think there's any in basketball.
No, no majority. Not
No majority. Yeah,
yeah.
right. No majority.
That's so what I'm saying is, why is that? That's not fair. Because you can't tell me that there is influence or group that can come together and purchase one of those teams. You can't tell me that. But we're not included. And they have, the Rooney rule, like you mentioned earlier, for but it's just it's one of those things. Like you said, sometimes it's just well, I'm a give him the interview, but I ain't really planning to hire him. It's just for the look. You know what I'm saying? But at least there's something in place and get the look. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's where my frustration lies, and that's all I'll
I
say.
can I can see that. I mean, but my thing to me is this. I guess to me, I look at it and I look at that and I think that there are certain things like when you go. So this is the thing I think that's crazy. Yeah, I think that part of the things that make America great, America great again, is the fact that you do have some sense of, hey, you can do whatever you want to do, right? But I think that certain things, I think practices, hiring practices, should be illegal. So if the goal basically is by this is to give the hiring rights to do whatever you want to do back with no checks, then mission accomplished. I think that's what I think that looks awful about it. But I just think that part of how I see them addressing the DEI aspect of government programs is because it's what's woke, right? That's like them basically saying he's going to fire all the generals who are woke generals, right? It's like, never mind their, commitment to the government and sacrifices they've done that you consider woke, so we got to get tried. It's this idea of wokeness. So that's the part that I can go on and on for that. But let me tell you, there are a couple of tidbits that he did.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Reassessing, realignment, and reevaluating the United States foreign aid. He's basically saying, hey, the United States pays a lot of foreign aid to these organizations that are supposed to be equal contributors, and they ain't doing it. So if y'all ain't doing it, we pulling all out of it, though, bro. I'm not mad at that, though, right? I'm not. He withdrew the United States from the World Health Organization. The World Health Organization. I'm not exactly sure.
That's bad. That's bad.
Okay, this was an executive order that Jovante Biden signed us up for. That basically that coordinated the government's COVID-19 responses efforts and implemented processes to respond to emerging pandemics. So we're sharing information about emerging pandemics amongst the world, and he said we don't want to know none of that, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I do want a heads up if something is overseas and could potentially come here, and we're not a part of the organization that shares that information anymore.
I think that one of the things that's interesting is he has a lot of his stuff that's around borders and migration. He has one. He's ordering a freeze of the U.S. Refugee admissions program starting yesterday, as a matter of fact. That's suspending refugee admission and application. So somebody's a refugee, They're trying to come here legally. They are holding all applications anyway, though, right? That's done by Homeland Security. Securing the borders. This is a says this executive order proposes a joint state and federal effort to seize and prevent future immigrations at the southern border. Not Canadian border though, but he orders the agencies to construct a physical barrier. He's trying to get his wall up, deploy federal law enforcement personnel to the southern border, and aggressively pursue criminal prosecution for those who violate the law while in the United States. This is the part. It's like in theory, that last part I'm not mad at, right? He's saying he's going to aggressively pursue criminal prosecutions for those who violate the law. While I'm not mad at that aspect of it. This is the part. I had this conversation the other day. I think that I'm not mad at all of these. It's just what makes these look bad is the messenger, bro. And what I always wonder is that these are very specific. So I wouldn't necessarily even be wondering what is the what of these. I wonder what's the why. What's the benefit to these? And because these didn't just come out of nowhere, right? And I know that everybody talking about these are things, a lot of these from the project 2025 or whatever, whatever. But my thing amongst everything is this: if you give a president, any president, sitting executive order powers where with the stroke of a pen they can do this. And all that can happen is the very next president can come in and undo every single thing that the next one does. These are executive powers, so right? So what I'm wondering is that even with him knowing that these could possibly be undone within 4 years, what exactly is the why? Like what is the benefit of that though? So I haven't read through all of these, but I am curious because they're very specific, and I understand that a lot of these are meant to fight against our global positioning on migration, refugees, terrorists. Listen, I'm all for anything that has to do with protecting the country, national security. That's all fine. I'm not mad at those. Um, but the things that I think that are just, I think that certain things are put in there as jewels to kind of just hit you for the okie doke, have you looking one day, right? The you renaming Mount McKinley from the Nali, the Indian name, and that was the name that Barack Obama had previously renamed. So he was like, you were already on this crusade to undo everything Barack Obama did before. So this is just a continuation of that, right? The Gulf of America is just one of those things where it's like, I think it's a little stupid, but I'm not mad at it either though, bro. Like I'll never just like, hey man, I'm out here going on this cruise, man. Where you at? Oh, I'm out here to go from America. Like, no, that's stupid, bro. I don't call Twitter X either, though. So, no, bro. I don't know, bro. I don't know.
Well, like I said,
Some of these things,
that's all I can really safely say. So I definitely wanted to say something, but that's probably about it. Moving on to the last topic. For some reason, academics keeps coming.
wait. Before we go on, there is one thing on here that I don't think that people are going to be quite ready, right? This is one of the ones where I think that it's the big why. So one of the actions that he's doing is the declassification of records concerning the assassination of John F. Kennedy, Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He is going to basically uncover details behind these records, so bro. And so I think that this is going to show and make it become public information, the dealings of that, the details that the government knows. And my thing of all things, right? Why would you select those three people? Because those were the three people that were heavily involved with civil rights era and the affirmative action era. So my thing is that why are you picking those three people of all things, right, to declassify them?
I'm ready to see the why.
Let's talk about act because this is making me mad. Let's talk about act.
So Academics was recently on a stream, with the 15-year-old kid and some other grown man that I don't know who it was. And they were having some spicy conversations with this 15-year-old, bro. Now, mind you, I don't want to get out here and be like, I didn't listen to the whole stream. I don't know the context of the conversation, you know, but what I did here was interesting enough because it's just like, you ain't having that conversation with no 15-year-old. Like you
Well,
talk.
describe interesting. What's interesting? What did you hear?
So basically, the kid, he was like, "Well, I heard you wanted to be beside the dude, but why not just let him be inside you?" And so the 15-year-old was like, "I'm not gay." And so then, Ack was like, "Well, what if such and such's sister would let you get the box? Would you smash?" And he was like, "Uh, no, because I'm 15, and you trying to put a case on the girl because she's over 18. Like, nah, that's not staging. What do you call it? That's not
Snatch story.
no, he used a specific word like but not trafficking, but he said something
Entrapment.
no,
I don't know what you're talking about
yeah,
now.
not staging. I can't think of the word. But anyway, he said the term that and so the kid was very knowledgeable about like the laws and so but it was just so weird to hear Act going so hard. Like I can understand you being like, oh no, I was on there, we was joking around. Da, 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 da. Again, I haven't heard the whole context of it, but then they was dragging Act, bro. Like, nah, it was so weird. And it's in a Discord. So it's behind a paywall, but at the same token, it's still just like super duper weird for these two grown men to be talking to a 15-year-old like that, bro. Yeah, it
This is
was
my thing. So I think that this is okay. I'm not trying to say, birds of a feather. I'm just saying that Act had recently came to defense of Drake
yeah.
for Kendrick calling him a PDF, right? Then now Act is out here basically urging or implying that a 15-year-old should be trying to have sex with anybody. Now, having a conversation with a 15-year-old about sex is with as a 35-year-old man, or however old he is, though, bro, is absolutely insane. And so it feels like it's not far fetched, though, right? If you're defending him, and not just defending that, this is my thing. If you're defending your favorite artist, that's one thing. Like I told you, there are 5 people I'm always defend: Beyonce, Barack Obama, Michelle Obama, Denzel, and I can't think of who my
Megan Thee
fifth is
Stallion.
right at the moment. Megan Thee Stallion is on there. But listen, at the end of the day, I can understand if you're defending it. But I'm saying if you're defending certain allegations as if you know that person personally, or that know that person's dealings personally, though, right? It's like, all right, why are you so invested? Right. So for that reason, though, man, but on that particular topic, now I'm seeing you doing these particular things. It's just like, bro, that's the problem that I have with people, though, man. I'm just saying that at a certain point, I did go through and I listened to watch this whole. And my thing is that at no point did he ever think, man, this might be perceived as kind of creepy. Like this might be some real PDF kind of stuff because he's going in, he's not stopping, and he's
Him
still
and his
urging.
homeboy.
Yes,
Him
and
and the
I'm just
homeboy.
yes, and I'm just like, at no point are you thinking like, yeah, this might be, even if I'm joking, right? This reminds me, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Elon Musk and his salute, right? Never mind how what you did, how it could be perceived, right? It's like this is right up one of those things. It's like, no, don't tell me what your intentions are, but just also know that you're in a position as a public figure that you should also be mindful if you're on a public platform of how things can be perceived by the public, though, bro. So get Act out of my face. So I was over Act a while over. it recycled me being over him when he said the LeBron James stuff. Get him out of my face, though, bro.
But the problem is, this isn't even the first time he's been associated with stuff like this. That's the crazy part. So that's the part where it's just like, bruh, man.
If it's not the first time, it won't be the second time. It won't be the third time. And the reason is because it's an all the time thing. This
Yeah.
is what it. I get up my face though, and for some reason, I think that I think that Act really feels like because a bunch of the young people rock with him, he's their OG. That he feels like he's one of them. He's like an old young dude. That's what I think. It feels like yeah, he's not just an OG. He feel like he's just them. Like he's just a little older than them. Like the young folks rock with me, so I'm one of them. Like get out of my face, bro. You too old, man.
Yeah.
I tell you, he's one of the people who I know for sure that I've never met that I feel like I would be compelled to slap if I saw him in person.
Anyway,
Yeah.
brother, what you got up for the week?
What I'm not doing is looking at Cardi B's piercing again.
Yeah, I finally looked. It's interesting. I ain't seen that one before. And that's not even the only one she got, too. I think she got like 3 neck ones or something like that. I saw it. Interesting placement. Did you see the picture of her with somebody in some watches?
No.
Yeah, there was some pictures in our Cardi group that she was out shopping for watches, and she wasn't the only wrist that was in the picture.
I'm not in the Cardi group.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, I'm not in the Cardi group. But that's probably why I'm not. Now you got me thinking I need to be in the Cardi group.
Just go to her Instagram. I think she posted it.
Hold on now. You got me. Let me look right now.
Yeah. Anyway, while you looking that up, bro, this week is more the same like it was for last week. Trying to do a little bit of writing in the meantime, but other than that, nothing's really changed for me this week. Same old from last week.
I think that for me, no, I don't see anything that's like outside of
you.
the normal though.
Don't worry, I got you.
Yes, I appreciate that. Good looking out. No, no, for me, man. I think that this week I am, man. I think that this week I'm in the lab heavy this week though, man. I think that I started a few things that I'm looking to go ahead and finish on up though this week though, man. So I'm pretty excited though, man. So yeah. More things though, bro. It's coming.
That's what's up. Look, man, from ATL to OKC, we thank y'all for rocking with the Slash Brothers. You can catch us on all the socials, and we will see y'all on the next go time, the next round.
Who is this in this picture?
It doesn't matter what your name is.
Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast of all time. The Slash Brothers Podcast, the greatest podcast.
Can you dig it,
of all time.
sucker?